Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio. It's Wednesday, yesterday afternoon. The Kansas City Royals are in Baltimore. What a hell of a performance by the Royals pitching staff. Not so great on the offensive side, but Bobby Witt Jr. saves the day again.
Well, keep in mind now, the Royals were facing Corbin Burns, who is one of the top pitchers in all of baseball, and they beat him 1-0.
Dude's been in the conversation almost every year he's been in the league.
Well, they got him at a great deal, but with the Milwaukee Brewers. But the fact is that the Royals win the game 1-0. Cole Ragans, nothing short of outstanding. Gave up 4 hits, struck out 8 in the time that he was in there, and then the Royals relief corps came in. And just shut down the Baltimore team. Now, keep in mind, Baltimore is playing at home. They're a hard-hitting, long ball-hitting ball club. The Royals are the youngest team in all of baseball, and here they are winning in the playoffs. I've got to say, I am terribly impressed. They didn't let the pressure get to them, or at least for that game they didn't. And they come away with a 1-0 win. And who gets the RBI? Of course, Bobby Witt Jr. with a base hit through the hole in the 6th inning, the hole between third and short. And it drove in the only run of the game. Now, I'm not a forecaster of any kind of fortunes forthcoming, but a 1-0 game in Baltimore, that's unheard of. That may change totally today. Although it is Seth Lugo who will pitch for Kansas City, and he's had a turnaround year. Hey, this could be it. I'm going to cast some doubt on what the Royals can do as it goes on, but nonetheless, 1-0, and it's a young team, and you will hear from them in the future.
You definitely will. And again, another 3 o'clock start today. So good luck to Lugo and the Royals. I'll be watching. Now, it wasn't just the Royals. Had some other action across the Major League. And any surprises in everything else that you saw?
Well, indeed. And pitching, as it turns out, pitching is always the key in a very short series. And this is best of 3. Incidentally, the games, all 3 of them, if there are to be 3, will all start at the very same time that they have. It's all the single time, I should say, for the rest of the schedule, which will end tomorrow. And it may end today because it's best of 3. Anyway, the Detroit Tigers, they have Tariq Skubal, who probably will win the Cy Young Award in the American League this year. He blanked the Astros in Houston 3-1. Great pitching performance by Skubal. He is so tough to hit. He's a terrific pitcher. So you have the 2 visiting teams winning in the American League, Royals and the Tigers. In the National League, you have the New York Mets going to Milwaukee and just coming off a doubleheader split the day before in Atlanta. New York Mets knocked off the Milwaukee Brewers in an offensive display. 8-4 was the final score, so the New York Mets take a 1-0 lead in that best-of-3 series. And then out in San Diego, the Padres all over the Atlanta Braves. 4-0 was the final. San Diego is a really good team. Fernando Tatis Jr. with a home run in the 1st inning. San Diego's not a home run hitting team, folks, but they did come up with the big win in the 1st inning, got them rolling, and pitching held off the Atlanta Braves the rest of the way, and a great series indeed. So games 2 coming up today. It could be all over on 4 fronts. It could be over in 3, and it could all go to 3 games tomorrow. That's how it works.
Man, it's been a fun week so far, and then, of course, we got football all weekend long. One of my favorite times of the year. Last but not least, the reshuffling and redealing of the conferences in college sports continues. While some get weaker, some are getting stronger, including the Pacific Conference.
Well, they do, but it's in one sport that they get. Interestingly enough, all of this reshuffling is dealt with football in mind, because football is your cash cow for most colleges, not all. So who did this newly revamped Pacific League, whatever they're going to call it, who did they add? a team that doesn't play football. They added Gonzaga, but do they play basketball? You bet, folks. That's one of the top basketball colleges in America. Mark Few is their coach. Gonzaga is located in Spokane, Washington. And while they did used to play football back in the 1940s and before that, they don't play it now. So that's the 8th team added to that league, but it's only 7 for football right now. The NCAA recognizes an 8-team league. You've got to be a conference with 8 teams or more to be recognized by the NCAA. Nonetheless, Gonzaga has agreed to join the Pacific, whatever they're going to call it, in time for the 2026-2027 season, which in fact is when it all begins anew for these conferences.
You know, the longer it goes before we actually get official word on Rashee Rice, I've seen all kinds of things, ideas, especially in subreddits for the Chiefs, guys that supposedly know guys in the locker room that have heard from this guy, and then medical professionals, and they're giving their opinions on why it's taking so long to diagnose. I think the good news is we haven't heard that it's a tear completely. The bad news is we still don't really know the extent.
Even if it's not a complete tear, and it probably isn't because it would have shown on the MRI, it still means he's going to be out for quite some time. Your ligament doesn't heal quite like that. It takes a great deal, as a matter of fact, of rehab and care, and his was obviously hyperextended in watching it, and who knows, whenever you hyperextend anything, tissue tears. Well, it takes a while, so don't look for him. I know they've ruled him out for next Monday night's game, but he's going to be ruled out for a lot more than that. He won't play right away, even if it does turn out to be the case. He has, and the Chiefs have, looked at second opinions, but the fact is that it's a serious injury, and to think that that's not going to affect the receiving corps, well, it might not to the impact that you think it would be, because he's a great receiver. But the fact is, there are other receivers on that team, and as Patrick Mahomes has said many times, next one up, let's go.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. Don't sell that tight end room either, man. They've got plenty of talent on that. We might see a lot of 3 tight end looks going forward in the next couple weeks. We'll see. So let's talk about high school football. The Nixie Eagles having one hell of a season. They still in the top 5?
They are. Number 4, as a matter of fact. Now, this is the latest state rankings that includes all schools, not just by class, but all schools. And the number 1 is Lee Summit North up in the Kansas City area. They are rated number 1. CBC from St. Louis Christian Brothers is number 2, although they have lost a game. That's interesting because CBC does play a lot of very difficult out-of-state teams, and so does St. Louis Cardinal Ritter. Ritter is number 3. They've won 33 in a row. 33 in a row. The last time that they lost, who knows when that was, but they played area teams. They're the team that beat Republic in the state championship last year, but Cardinal Ritter is a great program. Nixa is number 4 with Lee Summit number 5. Now, the next area teams are Seneca, which is 15th, Republic, which is 17th, Carthage, 18th, and the Branson Pirates are now number 25 in the state of Missouri. They're having a magic year. This is terrific, but Nix is the king of the hill in the Ozarks, and they are pretty doggone good, folks. Number 4 in the state.
Congratulations to those guys. They are up there with some tough competition. So last night, Ned got to host the Missouri Springford Sports Hall of Fame banquet, and how was it? I'm sure great. You were the belle of the ball.
Oh, yeah, of course. I resemble the belle. Anyway, it was a great evening. We had 7 outstanding individuals. Well, one was a team, so it's 6 individuals and 1 team that was inducted into the Springfield Sports Hall of Fame. The difference, Mike, is that this is a charity event. All the money that is taken in by the Sports Hall of Fame, and this is the 38th year for it, all goes to area agencies that deal with youth. And the objective is to provide funds for those agencies to buy sports equipment for the kids. Get them off their behinds and get them outside or wherever and playing and doing some things and exercising. That's the key right there. Anyway, we had probably around 400, I would say, that rounded off to the nearest 100. That would be it for the crowd at the Oasis. And it was a great evening, great interviews with each of the Hall of Fame candidates, and a lot of good camaraderie, a lot of folks seeing each other for the first time in many, many years. And that's one of the objectives of the Hall of Fame. So it's a great night, and we'll look forward to next year's.
Ned, you have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you later, sir.